If you're busy all day but still end the day feeling behind, then this video is for you, because being busy and being overloaded are not the same thing, and confusing the two is why so many capable people feel stuck. Busy means you're doing a lot. Overloaded means your system is carrying more than it can safely hold. One can be productive, the other quietly destroys clarity. In this video, I'll show you how to tell whether you're busy or overloaded, why overload kills focus even when you're working hard, and what actually restores momentum without doing less work. This isn't about slowing down, it's about understanding what's really happening in your brain. Most people respond to feeling stuck by trying to work harder, more effort, more organisation, more pressure. But if the problem isn't busyness and it's actually overload, those fixes make things worse. So the first step is diagnosis, because busy requires management and overload requires relief. Treating overload like busyness is how burnout begins. So let's define busy properly. Being busy means you have a lot to do. You're spending time and energy. Your system still has spare capacity. Busy can feel intense, but it doesn't automatically feel heavy. You can be busy and think clearly. You can prioritize. You can switch tasks intentionally. You can stop without guilt. Busy isn't the enemy. Unmanaged overload is. Overloaded means something different. It means your system is holding too many open loops, too many unresolved decisions, too much emotional or cognitive weight. Overload isn't about time, it's about mental capacity. You can be overloaded even on a light day if what you're holding is vague, uncertain, or emotionally charged. And once overload sets in, everything changes. Here's how overload typically shows up. Everything feels urgent. Nothing feels obviously next. Small tasks feel heavy. Decisions feel draining. Starting feels harder than it should. This is not laziness. It's what happens when working memory is saturated. Busy doesn't do this. Overload does. Clarity is a capacity-dependent skill. When your brain is overloaded, it can't hold hierarchy, it can't compare options effectively, it can't see beyond what's immediate. So everything flattens. Emails feel as important as strategy. Minor fixes feel as loud as meaningful work. That's why overloaded people react instead of choose. Not because they lack discipline, but because the system can't support choice. One of the biggest drivers of overload is open loops. Anything unresolved runs in the background. Tasks you haven't defined, decisions you've postponed, things you're meant to remember. Your brain keeps scanning them for danger, and that scanning creates pressure. Not visible pressure, but constant low-grade urgency. This is why planning can feel exhausting. Rest doesn't feel restful. Even easy tasks feel heavy. Here's the key contrast. Busy people with low overload know what they're doing next. They trust that nothing important is being dropped. They have clear stopping points. They may work long hours, but their system isn't panicking. Overloaded people often work less effectively, but feel far more exhausted. The difference isn't effort, it's containment. This is where most people get stuck. They think, if I just clear a few things, I'll feel better. But if clearing things creates more decisions or adds pressure or opens more loops, overload persists. So relief doesn't come from doing more, it comes from reducing what your brain is responsible for holding. Here's the loop. You feel stuck. You assume you're not doing enough, so you push harder. That increases cognitive load, which makes you feel worse, so you push again. This is how capable people burn out. Not because they're weak, because they misdiagnose the problem. In the momentum reset method, we separate two questions. One, how much are you doing? Busyness. And two, how much is your system carrying? Load. Only the second one predicts clarity, focus, sustainability, momentum. If load is high, performance will degrade, no matter how motivated you are. Here's a quick diagnostic you can use today. Ask yourself, do I know exactly what done looks like for my next task? Do I trust that nothing important is being forgotten? Can I stop without guilt? If the answer is no, you're likely overloaded, not lazy. Many people say, but I'm busy. Yes, and you can still be overloaded, because overload isn't about activity volume. It's about ambiguity, emotional weights. It's about unresolved responsibility. A single unclear task can create more load than 10 clearly defined ones. This matters because overload almost always shows up before procrastination. When starting feels heavy, your system avoids, not because you don't care, but because it's trying to reduce load. This is why treating procrastination without addressing overload never sticks. Momentum doesn't come from intensity, it comes from relief. When load drops, clarity returns, urgency softens, starting feels safer. Even small reductions help. One closed loop, one clear next step, one decision made. This is why overwhelm responds to reduction, not pressure. When you feel busy but stuck, try this. Instead of asking, what should I do next? Ask, what is my brain still carrying that I could contain? Write it down, define it, defer it intentionally. Relief often comes from action. So, pillar 1 made starting safe. Pillar 2, this work makes thinking possible. In pillar 3, we'll talk about pressure and stress and why even low load can feel unsafe under chronic pressure. But none of that works if overload is never addressed. You don't need fewer busy days. You need fewer overloaded ones. Busy can be sustainable, overload cannot. That distinction alone changes how you work. If there's one thing to remember, it's this. Being busy is about activity. Being overloaded is about capacity, and capacity, not motivation, determines clarity. If this video resonated, it's likely because you've been treating overload like a motivation problem. It isn't. In the next videos in this series, we'll explore how overload builds without you noticing, why to-do lists often make it worse, and how to reduce cognitive load without slowing progress. So subscribe to the channel, and if you want a structured way to apply this, my momentum reset method walks you through it step by step. There's a link in the description. You're not failing, you're carrying too much.